Please realize that I am opening up about my braces story in order for others to relate to. So please respect this video and its part 2. Also know that I did this completely unscripted, so if I misspeak, it is because I'm improvising. Thank you. Hi guys! This video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be my, my braces story. I still have braces. It's been, I think about 9 months since I got braces. So I'm going to divide this up into probably about two videos. This part's just going to talk about like the general sense of like the general video, like the general, like my general diagnosis, what they had planned to happen to me, and I guess maybe a little bit what has happened to me, and like a little bit more detailed-ish. And then my other video, I probably will talk about my feelings. If it's not, I will definitely put in like a little title card that says like what's going to happen in this video. So let's get started. So I had a pretty textbook, stereotypical mouth story until I was about 11 or 12. I was 6 years old when I first lost a tooth, and it's usually, I think it's the front four, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are like the ones that you lose first. I remember it was the bottom. I think it was the left one. And then, you know, I started quickly after that, I started to lose teeth, probably like 1 to 3 a year, basically. And then when I got to about 10 or 11, I think 11 years old, the private orthodontist practitioner at my dentist's began to discuss braces. That's pretty typical, I think. That's like the time period when you start seeing a lot of kids, wearing braces in school. For me, though, without trying to get into too much detail, there was at least 2 contributing factors and reasons why my mother objected getting braces. One is that, I don't want to be mean, but the orthodontist was quite, like, he was uncertain about, like, my treatment and what was going to happen. For one example is that my mouth is, like, although I have a pretty, like, I had quite a normal mouth up until that point. My mouth was still quite a late bloomer. I definitely hadn't had, even at like 12 and 13, I hadn't had any sign of my 12-year-old molars. But my mouth was just slow growing. It was, yeah. And so she asked she asked the orthodontist, okay, so if she gets braces now, will she need to have braces later? And the orthodontist was like, okay, if she gets braces now, there's no guarantee that she's not going to need them later, which means that I could have had braces at about 10 years old, 10 or 11, and, I would get like this perfect smile maybe after 2 years, and then after the braces were taken off and I guess wore my retainers, there was a chance that because my jaw hadn't grown to its full length, I would have to have braces again, probably when I was about 18 to 22. Also is that braces are really expensive. I don't know about you, but my former private orthodontist practitioner charged a load of money for it. Like, it was crazy. It was probably like a reasonable amount for what had to be done, but it was a lot of money. And my mom's like, this is not worth it. Especially considering that this man doesn't know if he treats you right now, if you're going to need braces later. This is absolutely not worth it. I actually, at the time, I remember I did beg my mom to get me braces because I was just like, I want to get done with. My mom's like, no, this is not worth her money. Also, I think right now it's worth mentioning that I think it was about 11 or 12, maybe I was a little bit younger, whenever they started to do x-rays, which is probably pretty young, they discovered that my first molar on this side, on the top, my right hand side, your left hand side, was the baby tooth that was there. There was no adult tooth behind it. And I think that's a pretty common thing I heard. Not getting into too much details, but my cousin has that same thing. I think it's like one of the bottom teeth. They now have, I think, an implant. Anyway, the dentists, I actually switched dentists. No offense to them, but I just needed a new dentist. My new dentist, they did discuss like what's going to be happening once I lose that baby tooth, because baby teeth aren't meant to be there for your entire life. They're really meant to just be there. I think I heard just to like make room for like the adult teeth, because when you're little, your mouth can't hold the adult teeth because your mouth is just too tiny. It's just to hold space for the adult teeth coming in. So definitely, like they said that you're definitely probably going to lose this tooth, hopefully when you're like 22 to 23. But we have to definitely think about what's going to happen afterwards, because you can't just have a gap there after it falls out. And it's because, when there's going to be a gap, I'm going to be minus one tooth, and then all the teeth, they're going to all move into that space. My new dentist, they looked at my mouth and they said, this is many years later. I think I was about 10 or 11 or 12 when the original orthodontist looked at it. I didn't get treatment then. Later in my teens, I think 16 or 17, I switched dentists to my mom's dentist. And they had like just better vibes, and I trusted them more. They said, you probably are going to need braces, and definitely you're going to have something happen once you lose this tooth. And it was quite recently, I think it was last year. They looked at my mouth and they said, okay, your baby tooth does not look good. It definitely looks discolored. You are likely to lose that tooth before you're 22. And so we really need to talk about what's going to happen after you lose that tooth now. And then they determined, hey, you need braces anyways. So why don't we can recommend an orthodontist to you, and that orthodontist can deal with it, because they can treat the space or like what's going to happen, along with the fact that you're definitely not aligned teeth. So yeah. So we went to the orthodontist, and they said that yes, you definitely need braces. I'll show you a picture right before I got braces, right now. I've had several people tell me that you don't look like you need braces, but according to an orthodontist and a regular dentist, I needed braces bad. Like, actually, it was not like anything cosmetic. It wasn't something minor. It was like, you need braces now, if not 3 years beforehand. And so they said, they assessed me, and they gave me 3 options for what they could do. And none of them was just move your teeth around. Sadly, I really am sad about that. Option 1 was that they could give me an implant. They could pull my tooth that was dying and may fall out beforehand, and they could put the implant in, and then they could just do braces around that. 18 months, quite simple. I could have even had Invisalign, which would have been great. And because if you don't know, an implant, this is going to get kind of weird, but it's quite basic. It's basically a screw attached to a tooth, or like a fake tooth, and it's screwed into your mouth, into place, and afterwards that it's in place, it cannot be moved. You cannot jiggle it. It's not like other teeth that move around. It's just in place. And so they could have just moved teeth around that, and it would have been quite simple. Now the second option was that, second option is that because I was going to lose this tooth, I was just going to lose this one tooth. And now my molar has... my first molar has mirroring molars, which is the first molar here, the first molar here, the first molar here, then the first molar here. And now if you are a -1 tooth, there's still 3 other teeth that are in like the mirroring place. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like, that's kind of not good. And so the second option was that they could make 3 extractions, getting rid of this tooth, the first molar here, the first molar here, and the first molar here, to even out the amount of teeth, I guess, in the quadrant, I guess I could say. Because like your mouth is basically a quadrant. There's like this side, and then the bottom, this side, and then this side. And I definitely was not on board with that. Option 3 was that I could have a TAD. They would move my teeth, along with the regular treatment. They would try to move the teeth into that space once it was vacant, and then at a certain point, they would put a TAD in, most likely at least 6 months afterwards, after the braces were initially put in. And then that would be like, I think it was what they said is that it's a thing that would, it's a device so that the teeth have something to push against. And then afterwards, they would work on moving the back 2 teeth forward, because that being my second molar and finally my lazy and like very late 12-year-old molar, 12-year-old molar that came in when I was like 16, they would be pushed forward to try to, lessen the space. None of those options were just putting on braces, and I was really disappointed. All of those options at some point would require some form of anesthetic, not general, but like small local like injection anesthetic, and there would be a little bit of invasion, and that is because one is you have to put an implant, basically a screw up into your jaw, into the jawbone actually, not just into the gums. And then 2, the second one would be having 3 extractions. So that would be like having to numb this part, and this part, and have like, I had 1 tooth pulled when I was younger, and that was a lot for my body to handle. And that was like a loose tooth. I didn't lose like excessive amount of blood, but to me, that was kind of a lot of blood, and I didn't like it. And so imagine having 3 teeth that are perfectly healthy. They're not baby teeth, they're adult teeth, having them all pulled out at once. That'd be like, they would have to be like, here. I would not be able to eat for like a week after that. And then the third option would be, I thought they were just going to screw it would be like an implant where they screw something up. But no, it's actually like it's kind of like, I guess you could say snake bites. You know how you get snake bites on your lip? It'd be like a snake bite, but on my gum. And I don't know where they're gonna they were gonna place it. It'd be like here or something. I don't know. At the time, I was just like, what? I didn't like want to decide really, because all 3 options sounded horrible at the time. But I went with the least invasive that I could think of. That's just personal to me. I don't know if any other ones if the other options were less invasive, but to me, having a TAD put in seemed like the least amount of like invasion. Now this is going to get a little bit like quite personal, not just like my diagnosis and that stuff. They were going to put a TAD in. I got my braces in November. They were going to put a TAD in. They were thinking about putting a TAD in June. They really considered it in July, but there wasn't the space for it, so they decided, okay, let's do August. And it is August now. It was like about a weekish ago when I had my appointment, and they said there's still no space, but we're getting there. So we set up an extra appointment for next week where I will have the TAD put in, and I think I'm going to vlog that. That's also basically why I wanted to make this video, so that I could make that video and it wasn't just going to be out of the blue. Now you check out my second part. I'm going to end it here. So you can check out my second part, which hopefully is in like the sidebar. If not, I'll leave a link in the description below, and and in like my ending card area, my end card, I will leave it in my ending of this video. So yeah, you can check that out for like my personal thoughts, I guess some small fun facts, and really get in depth with like what has actually happened in the 9 months that I've had braces. Check that out, and check out my main channel to check out my actual fun videos where I goof around a lot with my friend Marcus. So, bye!